And it's live, right? This is the Full-Time Devils CSKA Moscow preview. It's great to be back in the Champions League, and I tell you, it feels fabulous doing these previews when we're not playing against teams that I've never heard of. Right, today I've got Statman Dave with me, I've got Joshi with me, and I've got Adam McKola with me. First things first, boys, let's talk about Lukaku. He's on fire. What is it, 8 goals in 8 so far in all comps? I'm pretty sure I've got that right.
Yeah, spot on, guys.
Can I ask the question, what happens when Zlatan Ibrahimovic comes back? Because I'm going to be completely honest, right? I've been playing FIFA career mode, and I've been rattling my head. I don't know who to start. So, Dave, you tell me, is Zlatan going to actually get games in what is presumably his final season in football?
I don't think you could play both of them together. I think that would work quite nicely. I think Lukaku offers slightly different sort of dynamic to Zlatan. You know, you could play him sort of behind the Belgian, but away Zlatan, you know, you're thinking United are 1-0 down, let's say. You could throw them both on, or United are 0-0 and you want to keep the same shape, but you just want to change your forward. Zlatan comes on and you've got pretty much a world-class centre-forward that's different to Lukaku, and I think that's the great thing with United is the variety of all positions at the moment just looks absolutely spot on.
Go on then. Adam, what role do you think that Zlatan's going to have in the squad this year?
Listen, Lukaku hasn't been bought to be number 2 striker. So he's not going to be number 2 striker. I think in games at home, Zlatan could be used as a number 10 and just sit in the middle of, just say, Mickey, Rashford and Lukaku, and let those guys run around him and him pass the ball and build up play. That could be an option. I do think we could use them together, but I wouldn't expect us to see that away from home. I think what Zlatan will provide us with is an option from the bench. I think it provides us with a bit of experience in the Champions League as well, that we haven't got already. And it just provides competition for places up there. We already look at the left-hand side with Rashford and Martial seemingly battling out for their place there. Lukaku hasn't really got cover or competition for his position. Of course, Rashford can play number 9, but regardless of how many goals Rashford scores from that wider position, Lukaku is always going to be the main man down the middle. So I think it's a good move for United to bring Zlatan in, but if Lukaku continues his form, 8 in 8 at the moment, he just, even when he doesn't affect games with his football play, with his build-up, with his passing, he can score goals, and that's the beautiful thing about him. Some of his goals are reminiscent of Andy Cole, some of them are reminiscent of Van Nistelrooy. He's got all sorts of different kind of goals in his locker. He's a complete striker for Man United in terms of what we need as a number 9, and he gets us goals. And I can't see him being replaced in a squad or in the starting 11 permanently.
I can see certain games though where Zlatan will come in and maybe Lukaku won't play at all, because from watching them so far and judging Zlatan on last season and Lukaku so far, it seems like they are very, very different players. Zlatan used to come deep an awful lot, whereas Lukaku will sit up front. And I do think that at some point in the season, some people will accuse him of being lazy, but he's really not. He's just being an out-and-out striker looking to finish the chances, which is his job. Joshi, when does Zlatan actually come back, actually? Just a quick question before I ask my next question.
I think he's slated for January, right?
Oh, is it January?
I mean, one of the things that, I echo what's already been said, but one of the things I think Zlatan offers is, whilst it's an option from the bench, it also allows Mourinho that ability to play Martial and Rashford together. And I think one of the reasons we haven't seen that yet is because you need something off the bench. You need maybe not necessarily cover for Lukaku, but an option in that sort of top end. So, maybe you want to give Lukaku a bit of a rest last half an hour of a match. For example, later on in the season, that may become an issue. You can bring someone off the bench. If you've got Zlatan, it gives you that extra option so that you can perhaps play Martial down the left and Rashford down the right. You can play with that option. So that's what I think it is. I've said option quite a lot, but that's the point. There's a lot of choices there, and Zlatan brings something different. Again, something different that we don't have in the squad. A target man up top who will hold up the ball and bring others into play around him. And that's why you can play him alongside Lukaku, who actually sits up top, focal point, runs the channels, and that's not Zlatan's game. So again, it's just choices and tools in Mourinho's locker that he can sort of bring out and against different opposition.
Even though
I agree with that.
Go on, Adam.
Sorry, guys. People seem to think like Lukaku was a like-for-like replacement for Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Not at all.
And
not at all.
I think he has to be credited with with the amount of goals Manchester United are scoring at the moment, his running down the channels, through the middle, dropping deep, he's just constantly moving. And you think, for the way he's built, you'd think, how the hell has he got that mobility in his game? And Zlatan doesn't offer us that, whereas Lukaku does. And I think he has to be credited for a lot of what has been positive about Manchester United's attacking all round. I think he's helped other players in the team as well.
Yeah. I'm going to be completely honest, even though he did seem like the most common sense signing that we made this summer, I wasn't completely buzzing about Lukaku purely because of the point that I don't really want to be buzzing about new signings anymore, since so many have let me down in the last few years. Di Maria and Falcao in particular. But don't do that. We're not doing that again. Used to get my tongue tied doing that. Are you guys surprised by Lukaku so far this season, or is this exactly what you expected, Dave?
No, this is pretty much what you're going to get from Romelu Lukaku. I think what we saw against Southampton was more than what I expected. You know, we expect this raw finisher, this player that likes to run the channels, that's very powerful when he's on the ball, that loves to throw a cheeky little step over in there to bamboozle a defender. What we saw against Southampton was the rest of the game that you want to see from a Mourinho striker. You think Diego Milito is probably the best Mourinho striker that's ever been. Just scored chances, did well in moving to the flanks and bringing players in, and also defensively worked very hard. That's what Lukaku did against Southampton. I thought it was his most all-round game in a way. You think the chance that he created for Fellaini, the chance he created for, I can't remember the other one now, Ander Herrera, that was it. That play was brilliant. Receiving a throw in to chest, then playing a little 1-2, working it to the edge of the box. It was just an all-round great performance. And arguably, if United want to sit deep, which they did against Southampton, they moved to that back five system. They can do that if Lukaku takes his chances. He had 2 chances pretty much against Southampton and scored 1. That's fantastic.
He actually had 3 chances because his first header was a deflection and he put it in.
But what I mean, that's correct as in terms of stats, but what I mean there is his teammates created him 2 chances only, and from one of those chances, he did have a rebound and he bagged it in, but I think it's clinical, and it's what you want to see from Lukaku. Is he's alive in the penalty area. It's perfect.
Dave's fuming that he's been called out on a start. He's fuming, he's going red, he's gutted about it. Right, let's move on, boys. Let's talk about my mate Tony Marshall. We didn't see him against Southampton. Is that a reason to be worried at all, or is it just a tactical thing and maybe he's actually resting him to play in this game? Joshi?
I think, look, against Southampton, I think if we were in a more dominant position against Southampton, he would have come on, because Rashford, in an attacking sense, was looking a bit leggy, but his work rate down that left-hand side really helped out Ashley Young. So I think, look, we have to credit Southampton with a really good performance. Yeah, we weren't great on the day, but they were very good, and we had to defend well. And in the end, look, Mourinho made a decision to protect the lead instead of opening ourselves up to a Southampton team that were actually growing in confidence, and it worked out in the end. So I think that's why he didn't come on against Southampton. And for the individual in that isolated moment, that's fair enough. He's made that decision. I also think, actually, given Rashford's work rate and sort of overall performance, and he played the whole game, it means Martial will probably start tomorrow. That's how I see it. So I'm not worried. And the thing is, he's rotating those two. They're both affecting matches in their own ways. They're both getting goals. So at the moment, I have no real issue. The thing is, Martial has to show that actually he's got the patience to come in and affect the game instead of being. So if you think about when we had the treble season, Sheringham and Solskjaer, they weren't starting games early on in the season. But this is a long season. We're hoping to go a long way in the domestic cups, and hopefully the Champions League. And there should be games coming up in the middle and that's part of the season. And this month alone, we've got 7 matches. So that tells you, look, there's going to be a lot of game time. They can't play every single match, and Martial has to show that strength of character to say, well, look, and actually team spirit. Like Ander Herrera has come out and said, I'm not starting games, but that's fine. The manager has a job for me. I'll do my job.
We've got to kind of say that it's probably the manager's responsibility to be able to instill that mentality in them, so they're actually happy as a sort of squad player coming off the bench. Adam, do you think Martial deserves a little bit more than a sort of off the bench super sub role this season, though? Because I kind of think he does.
I don't think that is his role in the team, to be honest with you. I don't think he is a super sub. And I think last season I was disappointed with his contributions to the team. He only started 18 out of 38 Premier League games. I thought he was a shambles. the treatment he was given. And I think him starting games now, and people saying, "Oh, look what Mourinho's done." I don't think that's right either. We all knew Martial could do this, and he's just got the confidence of a manager that now trusts him, and he's playing regularly. As for him and Rashford, I think it's fair what's happening at the moment with those guys. That's why I can't complain about Martial not starting, because when Rashford starts, he deserves to start. When Martial starts, he deserves to start. And I think Joshi, what Joshi said was bang on. There's enough games in the season for those to play. Martial's likely to start against Moscow, a team he's scored against in the past in the Champions League for us. So he'll go into that game again with confidence, watching the training. He's smiling, he's laughing, he's joking, he's looking bubbly. The whole team's confident, and I think that's the great thing at the moment. There's a proper team spirit. When Martial scores, having just replaced Rashford celebrating his goals on the bench, and vice versa. And although they are direct competition for that left-hand side, I don't think they treat it like that. And I think they're actually driving each other on as well, and probably driving each other to be better this season, which can only benefit Manchester United for when we actually fit them both into the team.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day as well, these are young players that we're talking about, Marcus Rashford and Anthony Martial. They're going to go through runs at some point this season where their form isn't exactly brilliant, and that means you can bring in the other one. They're quite interchangeable, no matter what position they're playing. Dave, what do you think about Martial at the minute, mate? Think he deserves a little bit more?
I don't think he does. I think he's at the moment it's the right role for him with Rashford. I think that's perfect. You've got two left wingers there that could be two of the best left wingers in world football. They both seem to have in a man, that knack of having the unknown in their game. What we've seen with Rashford recently is a defensive work, as Joshi mentioned. He was absolutely against Southampton. He made 3 interceptions, which is more than any other Manchester United player on the pitch. But the reason why Mourinho kept him on was because he was doing such a good job on the Southampton fullback, Cedric. Cedric is one of the most dangerous players in that final third, linked with Barcelona over the summer. That's the calibre of the guy. But for Mourinho to go, okay, we're going to keep Rashford on, we're going to take off Mkhitaryan, who seems to have a really good relationship with Lukaku on the counter-attack, was just because they wanted to shore the game up, and it was perfect. But then on the flip side, Anthony Martial been directly involved in a goal every 30.5 minutes in the Premier League this season. That's an incredible rate. And I just like that Mourinho's using him a little bit like Zidane uses Asensio. There's one player there that's absolutely banging. Rashford's taking you on, running you up, running you down. You're tired, and then Anthony Martial comes on. I'd rather get subbed off, to be quite honest. It's ridiculous. So I think that's the kind of quality that United have in their squad, and that's the big thing this season. It's a squad game. If United want to win the Champions League and the Premier League, which we all believe they can do, that's exactly what they need to do. They need to use Marouane Fellaini in the correct games.
Came out of nowhere. Brilliant. Right, let's read a couple of comments on the video so far then. Ronak says, I really want to see a front three of Martial, Lukaku, Rashford. That'll be very nice, mate. Very pacey. Nyanju Patrick comments with this. Kind of disagree with this, actually. He says, Zlatan is the brain, Rom is the strength. I disagree with that. I think Lukaku's done a lot so far this season to suggest that he is a very, very intelligent striker. And Zlatan's hard as out as well. We even have a song for it. And Lucadinho comments saying, a brisk 7 degrees tomorrow in Moscow. Mate, I can tell you that no matter what time of year it is, it will be freezing in Moscow. I went in May once, and it was the coldest I've ever been in my life. Right, if you're watching this live, then you're probably not going to get an ad break. If you're watching this a little bit later on, then you probably will do. Either way, we'll be back in 30 seconds with your opposition review and team predictions as well from the guys. So back in a bit. Right, we're back. I love this. People think I'm winding them up about the ad break. It does actually happen if you watch it later on. That's why you need to watch it live. Right, starting 11. Let's get into it. Who will start? Adam, let's start with you, mate.
Oh, wow. The team that flashes up right now isn't my actual team.
What?
Because I've made a few changes recently.
Once you've given it us, you can't change it. That's your team.
Listen. We do what we want. My team, David De Gea in goal. Valencia and Jones aren't playing, we've discovered. So I've gone with Darmian, Lindelof, Bailly, and Daley Blind. I don't think Lindelof's going to start now. I thought Lindelof would start if we had Valencia and Jones.
You've got one job, mate. You've literally got one job. No. List your team.
But I'm going to keep Lindelof in. But now all these, I've realised we've not got Valencia and all that. I doubt Lindelof's going to start. But anyway, Valencia, Bay, Lindelof.
Valencia's not starting, mate.
Shit! Darmian. Let me start again. David De Gea, Darmian, Bailly, Lindelof, Blind. Yes, got there.
He's done it.
Matic, Herrera. Then I've gone with Mickey, Mata, Martial, and Romelu Lukaku.
Slick.
I wouldn't be surprised if Jose Mourinho played Lingard. It seems like a game where he might play Jose Lingard.
I think a Jesse Lingard start is guaranteed in this game, but that's just my opinion. Dave, do you agree?
Similar. I think we submitted our teams before the Valencia news. So again, I'm going to put Darmian to right back instead of being left back and Daley Blind at left back. And then in the middle, Lindelof and Small. And I think that might be Mourinho's sort of setup in the Champions League, of course, ahead of David De Gea in goal. I really want to see more of Lindelof. I was very impressed by his passing against Basel. Yeah, he had some slight moments where positionally he was caught out and the moment where he dived in. Yeah, it was chucking it down in Manchester. It was raining. It was a rash decision. But again, he needs to improve that. But what was so good was his passing. His link with the likes of Henrik Mkhitaryan in the final third. The passes that he was threading through, the pace was absolutely perfect for a real top quality international centre-half. So I just think he needs more game time, and I'd give it to him in the Champions League, a tournament that he's played in before for Benfica. Why not? Last season he was fantastic for Benfica next to Luis Al. So why not have Smalling and Lindelof until we get to the knockout stage, and then we have to sort of consider the opponents and the opposition and so forth. Into midfield, I think it's exactly the same as Mac. I'm going to go with Herrera, Matic, and then Mata, Mickey, Martial on the left wing, and of course Romelu Lukaku up top.
Joshi, what's your team, mate?
Yeah, I mean, this has gone through various versions through the day as I'm getting more and more injury news, but very similar. I think it's exactly the same as Adams, actually, although thinking about it, Smalling and Lindelof have already played together, in the Super Cup, in the Champions League. So that's, with the centre-backs, you look for partnerships. So that might actually be the preferred thing. So, but having said that, I'll stick with what I sent in and say De Gea in net, Darmian right back, Bailly, Lindelof, Blind, Matic, Herrera, Mata, Mkhitaryan, Martial and Lukaku. I think Mickey might sit a bit deeper. His sort of work rate within the middle, not as high up alongside Lukaku as he has been, just because I think we're away from home. Moscow, they're going to sort of load that middle area, I think, and he might sort of be a bit deeper than normal. So a bit more of a three-man midfield, but Mickey at the top end.
You lot are hard work, right? All you've got to do is send Chris your team and then read out the team that you've sent. You said Blind. You've got Ashley Young at left back.
No, I don't. My latest one has... Oh, have I?
Right, well, it's either the graphics guy or Joshi. Someone's getting sacked.
Sack the graphics guy.
Someone's getting sacked.
Who's the graphics guy?
It's me. Right, and also, by the way, Joshi, good shout copying Adam's team. Don't copy Statman Dave's team, because I've got a little stat here for you, Dave. You're currently bottom of our league when it comes to predicting teams. You've got
only made one appearance, mate. My points
7
game
points.
is very good. Yeah, not bad. Good start.
Excuses.
It's a good start, mate. It's a good start.
Excuses. Nonsense. Right, opposition. Someone tell me about CSKA. In fact, I was thinking this before, right? Does anyone actually know what CSKA stands for? Because we've played them so many times, and I genuinely don't have the first clue. Anyone?
I think it's the Army team.
Sport Club Army.
You don't know that.
Well,
no, we looked it up before we came on the show.
Don't spoil the magic, Joshi. They're not supposed to know that. Right, does anyone know anything? Does that lad with a big nose who used to play for us still? That Tosic?
Tosic has moved. I think he's gone back to Partizan Belgrade, Tosic, over the summer.
Right, okay.
But CSKA Moscow, it'll be quite like Rostov last season, where they played 5 at the back, 3 in midfield, and then one sort of attacking midfielder off a striker. So I don't think it's going to be the best of games. The pitch is artificial out there. I wouldn't be surprised if Mourinho matched the system like we did against Rostov. In terms of players to watch out for, of course, is Zagayev, the central midfielder that appeared on the European Championships in 2010, joint top scorer. Kind of dropped away, moved a little bit deeper into midfield. Now plays more of a deep line playmaker than an advanced guy. Also, Fernandez, the right fullback, who might be out the game with a concussion. He's pretty decent going forward. He's recently taken up Russian citizenship after being there for so long. So he's missed that move away to a big European club. After going to Russia. So again, there's ceilings of these players, but I fully expect United to sort of bowl them over.
Oh, bold that. No, I think.
I think saying that United are going to. In fact, saying any team's going to bowl over a team in Moscow, I think, is asking quite a bit. But Joshi, what do you reckon? Was it last season that we got the draw against them, or the season before? season before, wasn't it?
We're in the Champions League last.
Yeah, of course, it was in the Champions League.
We've drawn against them a couple of times, haven't we? I think. Anyway, I think they've got. I think the main players that people will know from them is the keeper Akinfeev, who seems to have been around for absolutely donkey's years, and he's still only 31 years old.
Football manager, God.
Yeah, and then they've got the two twins at centre back, don't they? Berezitsky twins. They've also been around for ages, and the 35 years old. So combined age 70. You'd think that Lukaku's going to hopefully try and run them ragged, really, with his movement and his pace. And then Statman's already mentioned a couple of their other players. I think they'll set up three at the back. Look, it's away from home. It's going to be really cold. I don't know much about the pitch, but that
it's a new stadium,
they're at home.
Isn't it?
Is it? No, maybe.
Say, do they not play at the? I realise that this preview is essentially me asking other people questions because I don't have a frigging clue what I'm talking about here. But do they not still play at the Luzhniki Stadium?
No, it's something else now.
All right, okay.
Yeah, but we're going there with a lot of enforced changes through injuries. So it's going to be, I think it'll be a slightly disjointed performance, but we may nick it. But I would still be okay with a draw, actually, away from home. And with that many changes, I think it will be quite a pragmatic performance. Jose won't necessarily be really expansive against them because of the logistics of getting out there and the cold and all of that kind of stuff that comes with traveling to Moscow.
Yeah, I agree. McKola, is there anything else that's going to stand in the way of a win for us here then, apart from the conditions?
Haven't they? Is it their top scorers on like 3 goals this season, right? Vitinho.
4
Played
goals.
like 11 games or something.
4 goals, 3 assists.
Well, this is the thing, though, that I think that everyone's aware that CSKA Moscow aren't very good. Like, if they were playing...
But they beat Rostov, who gave us a good game recently. They beat them 2-0.
If they were playing in England, they would be, like, I'd say bottom 5 of the Premier League, without doubt. It's like, they're not really a very good team. It purely is the conditions which gets in the way.
But then bottom 5 of the Premier League give us difficult games.
Well, yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know that they'd be bottom 5, but I think the point is we've got a lot of enforced changes in our side at the back, in midfield as well. It's not going to be. I'll be surprised if it's a really fluid performance where we dominate and completely take them out. I'd love it, but I don't know that that's going to happen. And they're at home. They know the stay. They know the conditions. So you just got to be a little bit wary of that. That's all.
Yeah, sorry about that bottom 5 comments. I'll change that to bottom half. That's one group of people you don't want pissed off at you, Russians. Right, moving on. Score prediction. What are we all saying? I'm going to get in there dead quick, and I'm going to say a dead slight 1-0. Scrape it. Adam, what are you saying?
That was mine,
well, I've got it.
I was going to go 1-0 Mickey or 1-0 Lukaku.
I'll let you have it. I tell you what.
Mickey likes Europe, doesn't
he? You say one of them.
But I'm going to go 2-0. Both of them score.
All right.
But it's not going to be easy.
Fair enough. I'm going to say 1-0 Lukaku. I like what Joshi brought up before about those old blokes at the back. Tasty. Statman Dave, what score are you saying?
I'm going to go 1-0 Mickey. He's league top scorer from midfield, and he kind of looks alive playing on the counter-attack in Europe, so I expect him to score again.
Joshi, score.
I mean, I know I said I'd be okay with a draw, but I don't want to predict a draw. I think I'm going to go with... hang on, Adam said 2-0, right?
Yes.
I can't... I'm going to go... And Dave said 1-0.
That means you've got to go 4-0.
That's what I was thinking, right? I've got to be... Having been the most pragmatic in the review, I'm going to go with 3-0. Lukaku's going to get a brace. and Mickey's going to get the third, and we're going to come home rocking.
It could be one of them, couldn't it? Where we're winning 1-0 for the whole game. They send everyone forward, loads of space opens up, and we end up thrashing them. Could happen. But
I'd be okay with a decent draw.
Yeah, to be honest, I think that a lot of people wouldn't be too disappointed with the draw as long as it's a good performance. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for joining me for the Moscow preview. I'm looking forward to the game. It's great to be back in the Champions League. And join us next time, by the way, on Full Time Devils. Get your comments in below. We might read them
out to 500k.
And yeah, like Adam says, subscribe. We're trying to get 500,000 subscribers, which would be massive. So yeah, thanks for watching. We shall see you next time. See you in a bit.